the default property. Now, the default property is associated with multiples of controls, including list box, galleries, drop down, text input box control. Now, for the purpose of explanation or examples, I have a list box, I have a gallery, I have a text box, and I have a drop down. They are all connected to the same data source, which is a collection that I've created. Now, of course, the text box that is not connected to the table, it's just a text. So for the text box, any text that you put in, hello, now that becomes the default property. The default property is the initial value or text that is assigned to the control before the user interacts or changes the control or changes any value in the control. Now, for instance, we have a list box. The user has the opportunity to select any of the items, and currently when we look at the default property of the list box, there is nothing there. So now let's create the text and put one of the items in the list box, in the default of the list box, sorry. So let's put mango. Now you see that automatically it selects mango. So what it means is that before, anytime the user interacts with the app for the first time, the mango will be selected before the user will decide whether he should go ahead with the mango or to change it to another item. Same applies to the drop down. Now, the drop down item is also connected to the same fruit table. So we have the same items here. Now let's change the default to pair. So you see that immediately the pair is selected. So what it means is that anytime the user interacts with the app for the first time, the pair will be selected before the user will be able to, or so the user will decide whether to change it to pineapple or change it to any other item. Now these are tests that we have put into the default of these various items, or various controls, sorry. Now with regards to the gallery, a gallery contains records. So for example, when we pick the first template of this gallery, we have orange, then we have an ID. So this item dot ID, then this item dot fruit. So it doesn't contain only a single text, but it's a record. It contains records. So let's try putting a text in the default of this gallery and see how it goes. So for example, when we put banana, it gives us an error. But when we put banana in the list control drop down and the text input, well, we don't get any of those errors as we shown earlier. Now what it means is that the gallery is expecting a record as the default and not a text. So for instance, we can, assuming we want to default the gallery control to banana, and banana has an ID of 5. So we're going to use a lookup. We're going to look up the fruit table. and we are going to look for ID that is equal to 5. Yes. Now, what it means is that the fruit with the ID number 5 should have been selected. Now, it is not clear whether it has been selected or not. So let's go for the template field to indicate which of the items has been selected. Currently it is white, so there's no background for it to easily identify. So if this item is selected, let's give it a color green, otherwise white. Sorry, go for the template rather. So okay, so if this item dot is selected, then the color, it changes to green. So obviously we have seen that the banana has been highlighted because that was what we put in the default of the gallery. So the default property is quite useful in a number of ways, because there are a number of cases that you need to set the initial value of the control before the user interacts or changes whatever it is in the control. Thank you.